I guess there's only one way to find out. Let's do it to it, right?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Beatty with the bat, Haliburton with the flex. Brunson's burning out, but the Garden still expects. Lindor's locked in, and Soto slander on deck. If Game 2 is a repeat, Thibs better check his neck. Oh boy, New York, New York. Knicks finally got a taste of their own medicine and blew a 20-point lead, huh? All while Hallie's really leaning into this villain role. Oh, and while all that's happening, we're sitting split screen, babe. On one side, I'm watching the bounce from hell silence the Garden. And on the other, I got Brett Beatty saying, please don't send me back down in Boston, and Dominguez walking it off in the Bronx. How about all them bees, huh? And what else is new? We got some Soto bashing, and I'm trying to quiet it down. The media keeps trying to kill my guy, and I just won't stand for it. I won't. I'm sorry. So there I am at the bar, sitting in a Jacob deGrom jersey, vintage Knicks hat, and now I'm reliving 15 years of playoff baggage. So yeah, I'll take another tequila, please. Welcome to New York sports, huh? And welcome to the only mic that actually speaks for the fans, not the back pages and the clicks. This is Rice on the mics. Let's get after it.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Okay, I promise. We're going to dive deep into the Subway Series, Met fans and Yankee fans. I got a lot to say about Soto, about the pitching, about the fans, all of it. But first things first. We got to talk about the Knicks. Because what just happened at the Garden, that wasn't a game. That's a goddamn collapse. And if they lose this series, that moment right there, that just created a whole new generation of fans who will hate Tyrese Haliburton the way that we grew up hating Reggie Miller. God, I cannot stand him. So let's get the stat out of the way, because you've probably heard it by now. But if not, buckle up, boys. 994-0. That was the record. That was the record for teams leading by 14 points with under 3 minutes left. Undefeated. Undefeated until now. Until the Knicks. Hey. And listen. I'm not even mad at the shot. I mean, it's one of those shots, but I'm a little mad at the refs. There's plenty of fodder there. They missed an obvious goaltending. They blew calls all night on both sides. But that shot, that bounce, Jesus Christ, man. That's straight from hell. And thank the basketball gods that Haliburton was doing his best KD impression with his toe on the line. Because if that was a game-winning three, forget it. Forget it. He goes straight into the NBA history books right next to Reggie, actually. I mean, the ball hung in the air like a soul floating above the city. It went so high that it even went off camera if you were watching at home. So you thought the game was over. And then all of a sudden, sure shit, of course, the shot falls. So literally, unless you were in the Garden, you literally couldn't see the ball drop in until it fell. And then, of course, he thinks it's a three. They go crazy, premature celebration. Hits us with the Reggie choke right there at MSG with Reggie Miller in the building, calling the goddamn game. And he points right at him because why wouldn't he? And, of course, Reggie points back because he's the absolute worst. Hallie gets it. He knows the history. He knows exactly what he's doing. He enjoys being the heel. He thought it was a three, and it would have made him a playoff legend instantly. Look, Reggie was a great player, don't get me wrong, but he wasn't a superstar. I mean, he was Reggie Miller, but Everyone remembers him for us, for beating the Knicks for the 8 points in 10 seconds, whatever the fuck it was. And Haliburton, he was fucking one toe away from being that guy linked to us forever. You know what a lot of people forget, though? The Pacers lost that series in 94. So that's all fun and games, but still came out with the L. Let's see if history repeats itself. The worst is, too, that the Garden was ready. I mean, 5 minutes before that collapse, the place was on fire. It was shaking, as they always say that the Garden does. Brunson was cooking. Towns was super locked in. I mean, Brunson drops 41, and Big Cat with 35 and 10 finally shows you some toughness that what this fan base has been asking for forever. You're supposed to win that game. And then fucking all of a sudden Naismith turns into Steph Curry. I mean, we fouled him twice, but what does it matter? By that point, it was too late. You got to push him off the three. Then, of course, Haliburton hits the miracle, and the momentum flips, man. And look, I get the chip on, like, Haliburton's shoulder. I mean, the players voted him the most overrated player in the league this year. So, yeah, that's okay. If nobody likes me, fuck them. Watch this. And Haliburton is on a team that's of the Final Four in the league, right? But the Knicks, man, look, it's tough to, you can't say that the Knicks stole games from Boston and Boston didn't give it away, but then turn around and say that the Knicks gave this one away and that Indiana didn't steal it. But the turnovers, the missed free throws, the lazy switches, foul trouble, they got frazzled, man. You never saw that from this team all year. They got comfy, and then they got shook. You had OG and Big Cat arguing on the bench. Cameras barely picked it up, but, like, it got to the point where Brunson had to step up and be dad and be like, yo, enough. But, Cat, where's that fire? You're yelling at the wrong people. You're yelling at your teammates. Where's that fire? I need you to throw an elbow down in the paint. And then even in overtime, after all that, you take a 4-point lead, and you still fold. The Garden was begging you to bounce back, and you let it all go again. And the worst part, this wasn't one of those, like, first game of the series, we're feeling each other out, we'll adjust, and we'll get them next time. Nah, this was a fucking gut check, man. This was a big wake-up call. You dominated them in the regular season, sure, but this is like a young, hungry Pacers team that was in the conference finals last year, and even if they got swept by Boston, they've been here. This is their second year in a row. And now they want to prove that they're not just, like, beating teams with injuries, like a Giannis with no Lillard or a Donovan Mitchell with no Garland and whatever. Like, you're giving them a reason to believe that they're the good team in this series when you're the team that's the good team in this series. And when a team starts believing, man, mind over matter, that's all it takes sometimes. You finally played the most complete game you have all year. Brunson was unreal. Again, Cat was strong in the paint. But, like, you lost. So there goes home court. Game 1 at the Garden, gone. So instead of being up 1-0, puffing your chest, feeling like, we're the big bad wolf. No. Now game 2 becomes a war. Because I'm telling you, if you go down 0-2 heading back to Indiana, you're cooked. You're not just playing to keep the series alive. You're asking yourself to win 4 of the next 5 games against a team that's 9-2 in the playoffs right now. You're not chasing wins. I mean, you're trying to chase history. You're chasing every collapse this franchise has ever worn. Every demon that's ever worn blue and orange. And boys, it falls on your shoulders. I mean, can you bear the load? As fans, we're begging you to. We will hang, if you win in New York, especially as a Knick, you won't just get a statue. They might they've already renamed the streets for you. You might get they might rename Madison Square Garden for you. But you gotta be there. You gotta get after it. You gotta kick ass like we know you can. We're begging you to as fans. God, game 2 is going to be go Knicks. Go Knicks. All right. Deep breath. The Knicks will be fine. So we hope. But now it's time to get into the meat of last weekend. New York baseball, boys and girls. The Subway Series. And it lived up to the billing. It had everything. Booze, some bombs, a couple defensive disasters, just a whole lot of noise. The city was rocking. Some of it earned, some of it garbage. So let's go game by game and break this thing down. Try to figure out what went right and what went wrong. So game one, Yankees take it, 6-2. Fine, it's all good. Rodon on the hill, figured it out. Soto's triumphant return to the Bronx in a Mets uniform. Not all it was cracked up to be. Greeted with nonstop boos, fuck you Soto chants, bleacher creatures turning their backs on him. I mean, I know that was Tiki's thing and his suggestion, and it sounded funny on paper, but I don't know. Once they actually did it, once they saw it, it's pretty cringy, man. Especially considering, you know, when they cut to the crowd for it and all the fans turn their back on him, but then they're still looking over their shoulder like, oh, is he looking at me? Is he looking at me? I don't know, man. I get it. You're allowed to be mad. You're allowed to be jilted. You paid for your ticket. You can do whatever you want, but you looked like a tool. You looked pretty cringy. And on top of it, too, the Mets offense actually started hot. There was a lot of traffic on the bases early, which is the key to getting Rodon flustered. That's his whole thing. He, you know, one bad pitch, one bad bullshit hit, he gets in his own head and then, you know, unravels. But par for the course, the Mets fail to get the big hit with all the traffic on the bags. So then what happens? Rodon settles in, and by the third inning, McGill melts. Just walk after walk after walk, lost the zone, and it unraveled, man. The Yankees, they put up a 4 spot. It was downhill from there. And you look, you knew game one for Soto was going to be brutal unless he shut the crowd up early. A big home run, a double in the gaps, just something loud, something. But instead, he walked 3 times and he scored once, and it was he did his job. It was quiet, but he did his job. But he gets clowned throughout the whole game. And look, you could see he was pretty chummy with some of his former teammates. I mean, shit, every time we came up to bat, after every pitch, he pretty much had a full-on conversation with Wells behind the plate. So game one went exactly how Yankee fans drew it up. Soto gets booed out of the building. McGill gets lost in his zone. And Rodon looks like an ace again. And then by the time the 8th rolled around, well, Mets fans were ready to leave, and Yankee fans looked like they wanted to fight anybody they wanted to. It is what it is. Then on to game 2. Big old day game after a night game. And a nice big clutch win for the orange and blue. Yankees did get on the board first. DJ LeMahieu, the senior citizen homer, of all people, who had that on their bingo card for the series. And, you know, listen, I'll give credit where credit's due. He had a pretty solid series. I'll give him that. But then the Mets tack 2 on right away the next inning. And the Yankees tie it. And now here comes the drama. Mets fighting to take the lead in the 7th. Beatty gets hosed, gets sniped at home on a perfect relay. Bellinger to Volpe to Escara. Nice slide by Beatty, too. Good attempt, but foot lifted up a little bit, just enough to come up from the plate for the tag. And then, you know, the bullpen was good for the Mets. Does what the bullpen does. Garrett strands the bases loaded with the 8th. Here we are, top of the 9th. Acuna gets hit. Beatty legs out an infield single. Tyrone Taylor gets plunked to load the bases up. And here he comes. Up steps Captain Lindor. And, of course, not a doubt in mind, scratches out the sac fly in the 9th to give the Mets the lead. And then, of course, just how you dreamed it up, Edwin Diaz comes in, my best guy versus your best guy. Edwin Diaz, Aaron Judge in the ninth. Gets him swinging, gets the K, slams the door shut. 10 for 10 on the year for save chances. You'll love to see it. Or maybe you hate to see it if you're a Yankee fan, but I love to see it. After the game, he said he's been making some adjustments. That's that pitching lab speaking. And now he feels like he can do whatever he wants on the mound. Whoo! Ooh, that's some good confidence coming out of the closer. That's the kind of closer mentality I want. Shit, Devin Williams might have to give him a call. That's a good bounce back win, man. Nice hostile crowd, day game. People called out of work, got nice and drunk. Beatty just got gunned down. Team stayed poised, manufactured the win, shuts it down with the pen. That's the kind of baseball you want to see in October. That's the win you circle back to and go, look, we've been here before. You love to see that. Oh, God, Game 3. Fuck, do I even have to cover Game 3? I guess to stay biased, non-biased, I will. This was the big ticket matchup. This was what ESPN was salivating for. This rubber match, David Peterson versus Fried. I mean, and they got as advertised too. Tied through 7. Nobody could do anything. 2-2 heading into the 8th. And well, fuck it. It all went to hell. Alonso did his best Lucas Duda impression. As soon as he threw it, I had flashbacks to 2015. He does his best Lucas Duda impression, airmails the throw to home, and then here come the floodgates. They are now not just open, they are kicked down the door wide open. Stanek comes in, and he tries to do what he can, but he gave up a couple soft hits, and then boom. Bellinger hits a short porch grand slam, but a grand slam nonetheless. And that was the ball game. Ball game, blouses. Yankees, excuse me. And yeah, Soto went 0 for 4. He had some terrible body language throughout the game. He didn't hustle on a close play to first. That could have helped the Mets. The crowd was eating it up. They got to him. I'm not going to say that they didn't. It's tough. Vientos makes a fucking bad read at third, and like he's not hitting. And with Beatty on his heels, like the leash gets shorter day by day. That's not great. You know, that's probably getting in his head. The Mets pitchers walked 8, a season high. Okay, 8. This fucking bullpen, these starters, they don't walk guys. 8. Whew. All that together, you put all that in a pot. That's a recipe for disaster. But just for the record, just to keep everybody honest here, Judge did go 0 for 5 in that game. Not 1 ounce of heat. Which, of course, fair. It's Yankees, and they won. So, but, you know, let's keep the scales even here. So, look, the Mets had the chance. They had the chance to steal the series. It was right there. It was right there. And then one slobby inning, one bad throw turned everything into quicksand. One mistake after another, after another, after another. And the slam from Bellinger, that was the cap. That was the middle finger from the Bronx. And it could have been avoided, but they didn't. So they take the series for now. Next time we'll see them is July 4th at Citi, and Citi Field has been rocking. So to wrap it up, Game 1, bad vibes. Game 2, clutch win. Game 3, disaster. Or exclamation. I mean, depending on who you root for. But that's the problem with this Mets team right now, the extremes. Kind of the Yankees too, man. There's plenty of times where the pitching is bad and the hitting's good or vice versa, but you either love the resilience or you hate the inconsistency. The Yankee fans booed Soto like he slept with the entire Bronx. Then meanwhile, Judge strikes out 3 times and nobody says a word. But you know what? Look, I'm going to say it, And you guys aren't going to like it, but I'm going to say it because this is the first time in a very, very long time that I can actually say it, and it actually kind of holds a little bit of weight, just a little bit. Yankee fans, congratulations on your World Series wins. How many years did we beat you in the Subway Series, and you brushed it off like, oh, that's your World Series, you're not going to do anything in October, oh, of course, little brother gets up for us. Well, listen, guess what, man? I'm not saying you're not going to be twiddling your thumbs in October. Like, I fully expect the Yankees to make a good, deep run. But this series kind of felt like your do-or-die moment World Series. That's never how the Yankees used to operate. So on the long term, I don't know, man. That might be something to keep an eye on here because you can play it off as much as you want that you don't feel threatened, but listen, we stole your biggest free agent. We stole a pitcher you didn't think you had anything to do. I'm just saying. I'm being a dick to be a dick, but it is something to look at. Now that we got that out of the way, it's time that I address the elephant in the room. Something that needs to be talked about, something that I just won't stand for anymore. Okay. The Soto slander. I've been letting it build now, and it's enough. It's time to deal with it. This man just signed the biggest contract in North American sports history. 15 years, $765 million. Okay, he chose the Mets. Not for 1 year, not for a little tour stop. He's here for a decade and a half. So if you're a Mets fan, you ride with him. Period. Okay. Oh, I'm getting angry. Let's start with the dumbest narrative floating out there. Big old big head, Michael K., sitting on his mic'd up throne, claiming, I have it on good authority that Soto wanted to be a Yankee, but his family talked him out of it. Okay, first of all, even if that is true, which that doesn't, come on. But, okay, whatever. Let's say it is true. So now we're blaming him for talking to his family for advice? Michael K., you ever asked your wife for advice for a job offer or an event in life? Or anybody ever ask an uncle or a cousin or someone close in your family for any advice ever? I mean, you ever run something by your parents before you made a life move? What are you talking about? Yeah, God forbid he asked his fucking family what they thought about this thing. You guys spent the entire offseason yelling that he was a mercenary, that he'd go wherever the bag was the biggest. And now you're saying that he actually wanted to be here, but he didn't have the guts to pull the trigger. What are you talking about? Pick a lane. And then on top of it, NJ.com, Bob Clappish, writing some weird fan fiction, I guess, for some clicks, saying Soto's miserable, that he ditched ESPN to be mic'd up, that he stormed out of the locker room. He only smiled when he was talking to Aaron Judge and Jazz Chiz. Like, what are we talking about? Clash actually wrote, this man is downright miserable and he looks overweight. That's a quote. That's not a paraphrase. That's a quote. Are you serious? Like, you want to know what I saw? I saw Soto, as expected, get booed and get his ass kicked, and then he tipped his helmet to the crowd and mouthed, thank you. Does that sound miserable? Does that sound upset, defeated? No. It sounds professional. It sounds owning the moment. It sounds like he's living up to it. Like, look, the bat has not been where it should be. He's pressing a little bit. He's stiff at the plate sometimes, and I might have seen some bad body language here and there. But what's real? What's really real? He's drawing walks. He's seeing pitches. Still playing decent defense in the outfield. He's still helping you win games. He makes your team better. I'm sorry if you're mad he's not hitting .315 in May. Like, there's 130 games left. Trust me. He's going to come out of this. He's going to find his groove. He will be just fine. That's pretty much what Pedro Martinez touched on too, by the way. Beautifully, might I add. Came out, fellow Dominican, fellow Met player. Came out and tweeted, I was once the highest paid player, and it took me a while to adjust. Nobody thinks about the human inside of the uniform. There's things that get you distracted, and we forget how young that he is. That's Pedro. That's a Hall of Famer, a world champ. Even he needed time. But Soto, God forbid, no. He's not allowed to breathe because he didn't go 3 for 4 in the Bronx this weekend. Come on. What? All right, here's another example. You want more? How about Mike Piazza? Guy's a fucking Hall of Fame catcher. He literally lived this. He got booed at Shea, even if with him starting hot. Even though he was already one of the best catchers in baseball already. It wasn't like he had to, make a name for himself. He's literally Soto. Soto was one of the best players in baseball, and now he comes to the Mets. You know what he said? It was a character builder. It made me better as a player and better as a person. It was a rite of passage. How good is that? That's exactly what Soto's going through right now. It's not a collapse. It's a test, man. If anyone knows what that arc looks like from Piazza, from booed to beloved to Hall of Fame, okay? Piazza said the spotlight on Soto is bright, and he is right. He said he didn't forget how to hit. The game is hard. The city is harder. That's the message. Play the game hard. Let everything else take care of itself. And that's it. So, yeah, I'm going to go to bat for Juan Soto because I've seen what this city does to its own. You booed Lindor. You booed Beltran. Shit, you booed Piazza, and you booed Judge if you want. You boo Stanton. These guys, literally all of them are MVPs. They all came out on the other side of it. So guess whose turn it is? Mr. Juan Soto. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to turn my back on the guy who's supposed to be the face of the franchise in the next 15 years, okay? This is a marriage. It's not a weekend fling. It's not the first couple of months that are rocky. You don't walk away. You dig in. You man up. You defend your guy. You want to be a real Mets fan? Then fucking act like it. Because the comeback arc is better than the perfect start. Trust me. If I end up with egg on my face, I'll be the first to own it. Fine. No problem. But Soto's my guy. He makes my team better. The media, they can chase all the clicks they want. They can get you listening for whatever they need. But you hear it real over here. They can chase the clicks. I'll chase the rings. And guess what? You don't win one without Juan Soto. Let's step away from New York for just a minute. Hit a few things from around the leagues. Gotta keep everybody informed that listens, make you sound real smart at the bar, even when you're not watching the games. So let's start with the Thunder, because they have now smacked the Wolves twice, and it's not even looking close anymore. OKC came out game 1 and smoked Minnesota. SGA dropped 20 of his 31 points in the second half when it mattered the most. Chet threw down some spinning dunk that was crazy looking. And all of a sudden the Wolves, who were supposed to be the bullies in this series, are starting to look like the younger team. Edwards, game 1, only took 13 shots, and he said post-game he's got to take more. He needs to start playing off the ball more. I appreciate him coming out and saying that, but that just means OKC's plan is working. So let's fast forward to game 2 here. Shai gets handed the MVP trophy literally probably right before the game and then drops 38 with a smile. Not just him either. Jalen Williams goes 26 and 10. Chet Holmgren, fucking skinny white boy Chet Holmgren, threw down 22. And the defense, now featuring 2 newly named all-defensive guys, by the way, clamped down. Minnesota's got no answers right now. Ant got 32, but he had to force 26 shots to do it. And once again, third quarter trend, it's definitely real. Thunder outscored them by 14 again in the third quarter last night. a wild N1 from SGA, a couple lobs to Chet, and boom. All of a sudden, it's a 20-point game before Minnesota even blinked. So now it's 2-0, and the Wolves are headed back home where they're 4-1. You know, the Timberwolves have a great home court presence, but OKC looks like they're playing to take no prisoners whatsoever. Mets bounced back after the Subway Series. They dropped 2 games to Boston, but they take a nice 5-1 win over Crochet. I know Yankee fans are happy about us beating Boston to avoid the sweep. And your boy, Brett Beatty, my boy, Mr. Quadruple A player himself, saying, please don't send me back down, has himself a game. Knocks in 3 ribbies, go-ahead knock off the monster. Makes a barehanded play earlier in the game, too. A little flash of David Wright there. Not that I would ever put the two of them in one sentence, but I guess I just did. McGill bounces back. He's got 10 Ks. Soto, you know, a little sack fly. Got moved around in the lineup, hitting third now. They're trying to change some things around. Look, it's a step in the right direction, especially with a big, big 3-game series coming up with the Dodgers. Need that. Oh, also shout out to DeGrom. He threw over 100 pitches in his first start back in New York. Not with the Mets, obviously. But look, I'm crossing my fingers that Texas is out of it come trade deadline, and the Mets can bring the kid back home. But that's neither here nor there. It was nice seeing him deal again and living up to his usual 7 strong, 2 earned, 9 strikeouts. Pretty impressive considering it's his second Tommy John, but doesn't get the win. Yankees walk it off. Dominguez in the 9th. Great moment for the kid. Just hits a bomb. Good for him. And brace yourself here, folks. This is not a drill. We are about to see NFL players in the 2028 Olympics playing flag football. Yes, flag football. NFL players, flag football. That's real. I mean, the owners love it until one of their guys gets hurt. Goodell is obsessed with globalizing the game, and this is his prime opportunity to do that. I've said it before. I'll say it again. The NFL won't stop until there's a stadium on the moon. I swear to God. Thanksgiving, Christmas, Black Friday, freaking Olympics. I mean, what's next? A New Year's Eve kickoff hosted by Ryan Seacrest going up against the college playoff, and it kicks off in Antarctica. What? It's never going to end. And I get it from a business standpoint, but how much is too much? How much is it? How much are you going to oversaturate the market? I guess, you know, people really do love football like that, but Jesus Christ, it's so much, man. But whatever, it is what it is. The money in San Francisco is flowing like Silicon Valley in 2012. Kittle, Fred Warner, Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy just got paid $265 million. He was making less than a punter last year. It's got to be a little tough for Debo. All he wanted was a contract with the Niners, and he played some hardball, which I'm not mad at him for doing, but they shipped his ass out to Washington, and now he gets to watch all his teammates get paid right in front of him. But I don't know. Something tells me him and Jaden Daniels are going to be pretty good friends this next upcoming season. Jaden Daniels can ball, and Debo might be the missing piece that they've been looking for. But here's the thing. Niners, they're doing it early. They're doing it smart. No drama, no circus. They said, these are our guys, man. So let's build around them. Let's get it done now. Could you imagine that? Stability and a plan? That's a wild concept, huh, Jets fans? So, yeah, whether it's the Wolves getting rocked or Soto getting booed or Goodell's Olympic fever, it has been a week in sports. But in New York, well, as far as anybody's concerned, it's game 2. It's the Garden. The stage is set for redemption or regret. There is no in between. The lights at MSG do not forgive. They remember. but they don't forgive. So if you're going to respond, you guys better make it loud. And as always, I'll be right here through all of it to call it exactly how it is. And that's a wrap for this one. I'm still here. Mic on, jersey half button, voice half shot. The Knicks dropped one that will haunt us for a long time. The Mets, keep building. Clean it up a little bit, huh? And the Yankees, congrats, boys. But I'll see you guys in October. And Soto, that's still my guy. Still standing 10 toes down for him. And this mic, well, still the only mic speaking for the fans and not the headlines. If you're feeling some type of way about Game 2, or you want to sound off on the Subway Series, hit the line, man. 732-588-6869. Leave a take, leave a rant, leave some love. And don't forget, we run it back on the Instagram all week. Always stories, always polls, everything you want. Community engagement. Come get some. That's at Rice on the Radio. RICEONTHERADIO. So until next time, tell someone you love them. Spread some good energy in this world. And I'll see you guys soon. This is Rice on the Mics.